Hello, and welcome to this episode of Stories That Shape Us. My name is Joanna Daniel. I've been talking about spiritual abuse this whole week, how to heal from religious trauma and not lose your faith and to continue to hold on to your faith. And I'm closing this week out by talking about how to heal from spiritual abuse. What are some of the things that you can do to heal? And of course, as I like to say, this is not an exhaustive list by any means. There are many more things that you can do to heal. But I just want to talk about, I think about 5 or 6 ways that you can begin to heal. So number one is an awareness. Name it. Name what the thing is. It might be difficult and challenging to name it because when we sometimes name something, then we have to deal with the thing. And naming it might feel really crushing to you and daunting, but that's the first place, awareness. We want to know what it is so we know what we need to treat and what we're dealing with, right? So naming it is the first one. And number two is when you name it, take some time out. You might feel like you not meeting with others might might be a struggle for you, but you might need to take some time out because abuse is damaging, it's really harmful. And we it's not just a psychological thing, we carry it in our bodies as well. And so your whole body might need healing. So name it, take some time out. Sometimes that time out is a really good time to reconnect with God, spend time in nature, with yourself, and with people who you can connect with safely in a spiritual way, right? So you might need to take some time out away from that congregation, away from that fellowship, in order for you to start to heal. Um, Number three is avoid negative people and relationships that want to rush you through the process. So you've named it, you've taken some time out, and people are coming in search of you. 2 months they don't see you, they start sending text messages and Bible verses, and they start wanting to rush you through. They might understand, they might understand that yes, something has happened and they can acknowledge it, but they just want to rush you through the process. Just hurry up and forgive and come back. We miss you. Healing can't be rushed. It's going to go at the pace that it goes, and it's okay for you to take as long as you need to heal, um, and to process what is going on for you. So people who just want to move you through without acknowledging rather the impact on you is can be sometimes just as harmful. The damage can be just as harmful. So take your time, go to God with it and let Him direct that process for you. Forgiveness is often not the problem because whether you forgive or not, you're still needing to heal the impact of the toxicity, the isolation, the manipulation, the control, the shame, and the guilt. You'll still need time to heal that. The fear that was put into you, the thought that you're not doing anything right and you can't make a decision. I know of people who have been through spiritual trauma that is crippled with decision making. They feel unable to make a decision for themselves because everything was told them what to do. And when they dare to try to do anything else, they were ostracized and treated poorly. And so you need time and healing. Forgiveness won't fix that because now you're gonna have to go learn how to make a decision. You're learning how to hear the voice of God and what it sounds like apart from the people who were acting as his mouthpiece, right? Another thing you need to do, I think this is number four, is boundary yourself. When you've discovered this is it, you've named it, you're taking some time out, boundarying yourself. Sometimes this might be physical distance between you and the people who hurt you. Remember, it's harder to heal in the place where you got hurt. So boundarying yourself might mean that you are having to leave that church, that fellowship, those people, because you sometimes might need to have some physical distance between you and them. Or you're choosing to who you're going to speak to, and that's a boundary too. Like this happens, I'm going to speak to this family and nobody else. That's a boundary. Accept Acceptance is a key one. I'm going to end on acceptance. Accept that the people may never change. This might be a hard one to do, to accept that yes, they hurt me, yes, it was abuse, but also that your forgiveness can't change them. And they might come to you and ask you for forgiveness. If I've done anything to hurt you, those kind of apology, that's not really an apology because it lacks awareness. If I've done anything to hurt you, I'm sorry. And so now you feel that you need to forgive. Let's rush to the end and get it over with. But one of the things that might be crucially important for you to do is to accept that they won't change. Accept that. Because without submission, without awareness for themselves, and without the ability to hear God's voice, as much as they were speaking up for Him, sometimes they're not hearing Him, they can't. So accepting that is going to be part of your healing, crucially important for your healing, because your acceptance determines whether or not you're able to put those boundaries in place and maintain them to prevent yourself from continually being hurt and to break in the pattern. It might mean the difference between you surrounding yourself with people who are positive, who can help in your healing journey, or people who are negative, who want to rush you through the process and you don't heal properly. And I think sometimes this is ultimately why some people leave God altogether, because there's a rushing through, as opposed to a settling in to awareness and acceptance and seeing people for who they are. We can pray for them from a distance. We can pray for them in a bounded, safe relationship. We recognize that they're unsafe, they're toxic, and they're harmful, and we might not be able to have them in our circle while we're praying for them and healing from the harm that they've caused. So really important. So number one is awareness. Number two, take some time out. Number three, avoid negative people who want to rush you through the process and their negativity in other ways. Number four is boundaries, and number five is acceptance. So those are some of the things that you can begin to do to start to heal from spiritual trauma. Now, if nobody had ever said this to you, I want to apologize. If you've ever been hurt, I want to apologize. Not if you have been hurt. Maybe that's why you're listening to this. Maybe you've known people who have hurt, who have been hurt. I want to apologize and say, sometimes I didn't do it, but it really is helpful. And I'm sorry that you got hurt. I am sorry that you're having to learn how to hear the voice of God and you're piecing through what your spirituality is going to look like after being in a situation that was harmful and toxic to you. I am sorry that the persons who have hurt you are not taking responsibility and that they refuse to accept uh, responsibility for their harm, for the harm that they've caused. I want you to know that there are people who are safe, that it's possible to heal, and it's right and good that you pursue your healing. And I hope that you will find it and you'll find a place of peace so that you can worship. As John 4, in John 4, when Jesus was speaking to the woman at the well, he said, "Those who worship me must worship me in spirit and in truth." And I hope you'll get the opportunity to do that. Thank you for joining me in Stories That Shape Us. I hope you'll join me on the next story.